Hello, and today we're going to be paying a visit to the Skaven, specifically Clan Eshin. Indeed, it's time to look at the Skaven Assassins, who are an interesting life starting off not even as a character in 4th edition, to where they are now in the old world. So yeah, we'll start with 4th edition, and they're coming in at 30 points a model, movement 6, weapon skill 5, bless skill 4, strength 4, toughness 3, wounds 1, initiative 5, attacks 2, leadership 7. Now, here's a question. Which section of the army boat do they come under? That's right, it's the regiment section. Yeah, you see, any unit of storm vermin, clan rats or gutter runners could have up to 2 assassins in their unit. Similar to how weapon teams work. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to look back at that and see them as a unit attachment, not a standalone character. Still, what they got equipment-wise? Well, they got Reaping Blades, guaranteeing an extra -1 to save modifiers, so -2 total, being strength 4, and D3 runes. They've also got light armor, granting them a 6+ save, which, well, it's something, I suppose. Now, they spend the start of the game hiding in their parent unit, and don't do anything until that unit ends up in close combat. At the start of that first combat phase, they will pop out. They appear in the front rank, moving other clan rats, storm vermin, or gut runners out of the way. Now, the turn they appear, they automatically strike first due to the surprise of them appearing, and allowed to attack anything they're in base contact with, so moving them next to key targets like characters and champions is definitely the best idea. Future rounds of combats, they'll fight like normal, and can reposition if they want in the front rank. Now, because they're unit attachment, they can never leave the unit. Yep, once revealed, they're stuck with their parent unit for the rest of the game, and if the unit flees or is destroyed, they go with it. And that's really it for the 4th edition assassin. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting start to them being an attachment and not a character, but that wouldn't last very long. So, next would be 5th edition fantasy, but the Skaven skipped that one. So, straight to 6th edition it is. And yeah, this is where they've had some major changes, and the more modern Skaven assassin would take root. So let's start with the obvious change, they're a hero choice now. They're 105 points, movement 6, weapon skill 6, bless skill 5, strength 4, toughness 4, runes 2, initiative 8, attacks 3, leadership 8. Yep, a much more impressive profile considering that they are indeed now a hero. So equipment-wise, they're coming with 2 hand weapons base, the Reaping Blade's gone, but they've also got Throwing Star as a range option. Their weapons are also Warpstone weapons, so they count as magical. Other basic equipment, they can take smoke bombs for 20 points, which allow the assassin, if by themselves and they flee combat, they can only be pursued on a roll of 4+ by the enemy. Now, they're allowed up to 50 points of magic items, and they had access to some unique ones. Warpstone stars are throwing stars, and they throw a number equal to their attacks at range 10, strength 5, doing D3 runes, so basically Reaping Blade throwing stars. Can't say no to that. The Reaping Blade itself is still around, it's just a magic item now and not specific to them, anyone could use it. The other unique item to them was the Cloak of Shadows for 50 points. If an enemy wants to shoot or cast a spell on them, they need to roll d6, and it only works on a 5+. This also only worked if the assassin was alone. If the assassin's in a unit or in close combat, it has no effect. What about rules then? Well, if you didn't give a magic weapon, good news! All their non-magic item attacks are poisoned, which is handy. Now of course they can still hide, and they can do so in clan rats, storm vermin and gut runners still, but night runner units can also have them now. The only exception is gutter runner tunneling teams. Due to the fact they can go a bit wrong, it's a little too risky for the assassins so they don't bother. So they can still be revealed at the start of a close combat phase, or at the start of your turn now. They still always get strikes first if revealed in combat. They are also destroyed if the unit is destroyed or flees off the table before they're revealed. However, they are not bound anymore, and can wander off on their own if you need them to do so. They also don't have to hide, and you can just scout ahead of them if you want to go solo. Now, leadership. Because of their role as an assassin, they can never be the general, and no unit can use their leadership for making their own leadership tests. Other than that, they got the Skaven special rules, though the main one that applies is them getting +1 to flee. things like Verminous Valor is... well, you can do it, but it kind of makes the Assassin's Wall a bit pointless if you do. So yeah, slightly more deadly now and customizable as a hero option, but still doing the same role. And a bit more limited becoming a hero choice now, so you can't have a load of them. Now, normally we'd move on to 7th edition. However, there's a unique option. If you're playing a pure Clan Eshin list, as this was available in the back of the army book, they had access to the Master Assassins. So they're mainly the same, but they're a lore choice now. 215 points, movement 7, weapon skill 8, lit skill 6, strength 4, toughness 4, runes 3, initiative 10, attacks 4, leadership 8. Equipment-wise, the same, but they're allowed 100 points of magic items. Special rules the same, but also, Gutter Runners and Night Runners within 12 inches can use their leadership for leadership tests, even if hidden, but this is telling your opponent roughly where they are. Others had to wait for him to be revealed, and the Master Assassin can be a general. So yeah, if you were to go the pure Eshin route, you had an Assassin lore too, when kitted out with magic items, was pretty nasty. So, now off to 7th. And the model didn't change, so let's start the stat line, which has changed from 6th. They're leadership 7 now. So yeah, got a bit worse there, but otherwise still a hero, and 120 points now. Equipment? Well, there's still 2 hand weapons of throwing stars, but they're not warpstone weapons anymore. Magic items allowed at 50 points of them, and they also can take stuff from the scavenge pile, which is not Eshin specific, but allow access to the warp musket, poison attacks. That one's a bit pointless as, yeah, guess what special rule they still have access to? Tail weapon, warp block pistol, and a rat hound bodyguard. As for unique magic items, they had 3. The warpstone stars are back, 50 points, now 3 times multiple shots, strength 5 and D3 runes. Smoke bombs are now a magic item for 10 points, 1 use only, and if the assassin flees, the pursuer now only rolls 1d6 to try and catch them. A new one, however, is the Infernal Bomb for 30 points. It's 1 use only, and when making a non-charge move, the assassin can drop it. The Skaven player can detonate it at any point after the turn is placed and rolls a d6. On a 1, it's a dud, nothing happens. 2+, it goes boom. You place the large round template where the bomb was, and any model directly under the hole in the template takes a strength 10 hit doing d3 wounds. Anything else takes a strength 3 hit. Yeah, getting hit where you wanted was tricky, but it is a bit of a deterrent for your opponent to go near it as that strength 10 hit looming? Pretty potent. So what about special rules from them then? Well, they gained a few, and others got tweaked. So, as I mentioned, they've still got poison attacks, and they can also still scout. They now also have sneaky infiltrators. So, if they decide not to hide in a unit, or deploy on the board for a scout, you can have them deploy off this table, and roll from turn 2 onwards to see if they come on from any table edge. They can still hide in units, of course, but now we've added Skaven Slaves to the list, along with the previous 4. It's kind of funny they've been gaining 1 new unit each edition so far, otherwise it's still the same. Well, bar one thing. They don't get always strike first when they're revealed in combat. That's because they always strike first now. That's pretty useful. Now, Skaven Assassins' survivability has always been something, so they now have a 4+ dodge ward save. So yes, actually having some proper survivability without needing a magic item for it first. Alongside that, they've got Verminous Valor and Scurry Away, as most Skaven do. Also, the leadership can't be used anyone for leadership tests, and they can't be a general still. So yeah, it's not much of a change from 6th edition. They got a ward save built in, which is good, and otherwise it's some tweaks just refining them. Still, they're pretty good at their job. Now then, on to the final edition of Fantasy, before the end times, 8th edition. Yeah, the Skaven skipped this one of an army book till end times, and the Assassins saw no changes from that, so basically we then had to wait for Old World. Skaven, of course, sadly, have not ended up getting a book yet, but we still have the Legends rules for them. Also, technically they didn't get a new model because of this, but Age of Sigmar did, so we'll use theirs. Also, technically, the Assassin is a champion option of the Gutter Runners now, not a hero choice. Their hero choice, or character choice, is the Clan Eshin Master Assassin, so we'll look at that one. 90 points, movement 6, movement skill 8, physical 7, strength 4, toughness 4, wounds 2, initiative 8, attacks 3, initiative 7. They're coming with the usual 2 hand weapons and throwing stars, and allowed 50 points of magic items. Though nothing really unique for Clan Eshin this time, as, again, Legends rule set, sadly. Special rules? They've got a few. So, their weapons are still Warpstone now, which is good, as it gives them magical attacks and armor piercing -1. They've also still got, poison attacks. Skaven specific, they've got Scurry Array, so get +1 when fleeing, and yeah, Vermis Valor's still around. Alongside that, they can move through cover, or evasive, feigned flight, fire and flee, and or ambushes. Now, the next 2 are specific to them. First, Eshin Infiltration. If you have a unit of Gutter Runners using the ambush rule, they can be placed within 12 inches of a Master Assassin, as long as they're 6 inches away from an enemy. The Gutter Runners can't charge if they do this, but, otherwise they can do what they want. It's a nice bonus to help them get into good position. And of course, the Assassin can still hide. However, it's now any infantry unit with 10 or more starting models, so you can hide them in a unit of Plague Monks as an example now. Other than that, they still can't be generals, and yeah, no, they've lost their Strikes First bonus completely. Bit of a shame. So, in many ways, they've sort of gone back to the 6th edition form. And while plenty of rules, the loss of Strikes First and the ward save is a bit of a blow to them. But, you know, again, it's a Legends rule set, you can't really blame them for that. But, that is where the Clan Assassin is sitting right now. It definitely had a very interesting start being a unit add-on, and yeah, then became a decent hero choice if you wanted to kill other heroes and characters out of potentially nowhere. All we can really hope is if the old world continues, they get some more love if the Skaven get their own book. I'm kind of hoping for that. Give my Scavies a book.